we personally believe that everybody wants to make a difference. I think we're wired that way. I think whether it's small, whether it's great, we want to influence people and we want to make a difference in our community. I think it makes us stronger. And so I think that there's an element of it that when we think about giving our time and our resources, we want those nonprofits to know there's more than enough people out there. We just need to do a great job of informing them and communicating well with them.
Cindy, Leslie, what's up? Like I start podcasts?
What's
Pretty
up?
good, pretty good. I'm doing well. How are you today?
We're doing great.
Excellent. We're here to talk about Every Neighbor, your platform for helping nonprofits and churches and businesses and all the
Anybody.
things. Anybody. I love it. Okay, so let's just start with Every Neighbor. I don't want to do a whole spiel of like do an intro. That's weird. It's going to show up on the screen. You're going to know who they are. So whoever wants to take this, what is Every Neighbor?
Every Neighbor is a community platform, first of all. So our community knows the needs of the nonprofit. So anything from um, an individual looking for service opportunities to a business wanting to empower their employees, whether to sign up to serve or to donate items. We work with churches. So it's just a community platform that's free. Anybody can get on and see the needs that the nonprofit has. So there's no more searching really when we think about the problems that we wanted to solve was we know a question of, well, how do we get engaged? We want to do something good, but where do we go? How do we make that happen? And so we felt like there needed to be a centralized place where people could go to see the needs.
So how did the idea come about? Because this is, for those who don't know, this is a technology platform. We'll get into it. But I mean, what sparked the idea of like, here's a problem we need to address?
So, like a lot of years ago, I'm going to age myself, but I was a pastor's wife for 19 years. And throughout that time, served on different teams, whether it was youth, women's, children. During the year, we would offer different opportunities to engage our members in serving in the community. I served a stint with missions and doing different things, wanting to mobilize people. And as a leader in those spaces, I realized how difficult it was. It was making a lot of phone calls, waiting on a return phone call. Okay, how many people can we send? What does it look like? And so through that, I always knew it was a problem. I mean, I probably 2008, 2009, I felt like it was a problem that needed to be solved. That wasn't my problem to solve.
Okay.
It was kind of like just an idea. And I felt like this could get easier. Like, we need to make this more simple for people, for our community. There's so many good things happening in the community. I felt like that there needed to be a better pathway. And so, what did that look like? I've also served, I have a mom, 3 kids. I served in booster clubs in at the schools, different capacities where people were trying to track volunteer hours. And it's a beatdown if you don't have tools to help you do that. And so, um, through that experience, I continued to see the problem was there. And then when Patrick was mayor in 2020, he was sworn in. And just through that experience with the city and seeing the different ways that we needed the city to be informed on what was happening and ways to get involved, whether it was through COVID, a lot of different things. I felt like we needed a resource where people could go to. And so that just got my wheels turning and really just, I believe that the Lord really said, "Hey, will you do this?" It was something that had been on my heart for a long time, and I was like, "Okay, let's go see what we can do to help not only our community be connected, but also with our nonprofits." They're doing a lot of hard work for the clients. They do a lot of various things in the community, and I wanted them to be able to see um, their processes, their efficiencies improve as well. their communication with their volunteers. Volunteers are a huge part of a nonprofit, and what they do. It's not only dollars, but time that people give. And so I just felt like through this tool, it offered both, community side and also the backside for administration. So that's when I say that we have this community platform. We could not do it without the nonprofits that we work with, the churches, the businesses that are trying to mobilize people.
I'm getting the two sides of the coin here, right?
Yes.
Where you've got like the actual nonprofits, and I'll lump in churches or other various organizations. They need they have needs, right, from the community, and they need that outreach.
Hmm.
And then you have your citizens, right, who are like, well, I want to serve, I want to donate, I want to give my time, money, whatever it may be. But what's the easiest way to bridge the gap there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Leslie, how did you get involved? Like, what is your background as well? How did you two join forces?
Cindy had this great idea and she asked me to go on this ride with her. And so that's really how I got started in this. But similarly, as Cindy, I worked at a church for almost 10 years and saw some of the same needs and some of the same roadblocks and issues that we would run into, and being able to mobilize our congregation in real needs outside of the four walls of the church. It was complicated at times to be able to find ways to do that. And so I always had a heart in, how do we take the people that are attending here and have great hearts for this community, love where they live, and help to be a catalyst of moving them into doing good outside of the walls of the church. One thing when Cindy was talking that came to my mind was when I was doing all of the curriculum stuff for the kids ministry, we wanted to do a month where we did like service projects. And so we were trying to do age appropriate activities. So the little kids, we did like a food drive where we collected food items. And then upstairs with our older kids, we decided we would make blankets. And that was great. Our heart was in it, and it was, we thought this was the most brilliant idea. Well, then surprisingly, when it came down to, okay, now we have hundreds of blankets that we need to donate. Well, we had a hard time finding people to take these blankets, because what seemed like us just doing something out of the goodness of curriculum and teaching kids to give back actually wasn't helpful for the nonprofits that we were calling to try to take these blankets, because they were like, where will we don't have anywhere we can store these blankets, we don't do children, or whatever it was. And so really just realizing there were some roadblocks there between people who really want to do good and they want to give back. They want to teach the next generation how to do the same, but that there's not easy and clear communication or direction in being able to do that. And so when Cindy approached me about what she was thinking about doing, and as I learned about the platform, realizing this could streamline so many things and simplify so many things without me having to make 50 phone calls and beg someone to take blankets. I could know on the front end, okay, what does this organization actually need before we start resourcing and figuring out curriculum? We can find what the real needs are, and then we could plan around that. So there were just some pieces of it that were exciting to me, because they were also problems that I had seen firsthand. Also, in just my husband is a police officer here in the city, and I was a junkie of ride, not a junkie, drug junkie. That's not how we.
Way to
That's not how that
clarify.
matched.
Thank you.
That match did not happen. Wrong junkie, but I was a ride along junkie, where I would get to ride out with him some evenings while he was on shift and really see the nights of our city. And in doing that and seeing some of the really hard things that were out there and some needs that were really needing to be met, And having lived here my entire life and not knowing that we had some of the great nonprofits that were doing some great work in our community, realizing I didn't know really what a lot of people were doing in our community, and also realizing that there were still some really great needs that at 3 o'clock in the morning nobody's answering their email. So if you were able to find some of these things on a space that lives live, um, then you might be able to get some help to some people in real time. So it's just kind of this full circle of a lot of different things in my life that it was appealing to me. I was like, okay, yeah, there's a problem and let's see if we can solve it. Let's at least chip away at it. Let's try to make a difference. So
Is it typically like a single person or a family who's like, "Hey, I want to donate clothes or I want to create blankets," or is it like working with organizations to like uh activate staff?
I think it's a combination of a lot of that. On the one side, that is the platform for the community. They can find it at everyneighbor.com, and we have 2 places there where they can go to see specific places for them to volunteer, or you can, we have a community calendar that they can attend something. So, we realize time is precious to people, and we wanna value the volunteer that's giving their time, and so we encourage, the nonprofits that we work with to put things on the platform that are very specific, as specific as they can be, so the volunteer has a great experience. They know where to show up, they know what shoes to wear, they know, all the details can be in that location.
From a
So
volunteering perspective.
from the
Okay.
volunteer perspective. So once you go to the, it says, I want to volunteer. So you ways to serve. So you click on that. It gives you a variety of organizations that we work with, and anything from working with youth to working with special needs to working with a variety of organizations serving the hunger. So, whatever passion, whatever cause you have, there's also a searchable, basically vehicle for someone to click on. Okay, I love animals, or I want to work with people with veterans, or I want to work in different organizations. So, they can find it in 2 different ways. So, you can either find it directly through the organization or through the search tool. And so, you can click on it. Um, the organization has posted, let's just say specifically, we work with Breaking Bread. They have a daily need for feeding people in the afternoons. And so they have a specific time slot. I can't remember exactly, but it's like, let's just say it's 4 to 6.
Okay.
That volunteer can go on and join that opportunity, and they click on it. That way, Breaking Bread knows who's coming. They know exactly how many volunteers are coming. That person, if there's any criteria, maybe they've needed to watch a video or fill out a form, all of that is encompassed in one location. So it gets that volunteer started on the pathway to serving. Some of our nonprofits don't have a lot of requirements, so it can be pretty immediate, as I want to serve this week. If anybody has a background check or other requirements, those can be included on there too. So it gets the volunteer on the pathway to get started directly with that nonprofit to serve.
What about the person who maybe they don't have time to volunteer, but they want to donate in some way, either products or whatever? Is that a similar path
Mhm.
or experience?
Yeah.
yeah, so on the front facing side of the platform where the community can go, you can literally click and see if it's a donation or a time. So is it I need a physical person to come fill a shift, if you will, and serve, or I have item donations that need to be given or that we need to receive. So for instance, Breaking Bread, they have a place where the homeless can shower. They're always in need of towels. They're always in need of shampoo and conditioner and those type of items so that people can shower. And then FCA, for example, right now they're about to be doing their big summer camps, and they have a huge donation list that is needed of different snacks and bins to hold the snacks. And so if you go on right now onto FCA, you'll see donations needed. You can click on that. It's going to give you the list of what they need. And you can say, well, I can donate 5 bags of oranges. And so you would literally say 5 bags of oranges, and it lets them know, hey, Ryan's said he's
Okay.
going to bring 5 bags
You're
of
going to
oranges. So,
commit to
yeah.
that. Okay.
So you commit to that, and then you can see where they want them donated. There's also a lot of our orgs have an Amazon wish list that is attached. So if you can just click in on their wish list and select the items, and it'll ship directly to them. So there's multiple, and then monetary donations. There's on some of our orgs will have a donate, and you can give a donation to the organization as well. So you can do
Okay.
all of those things on the front side.
And what about working with large scale corporations and businesses?
So I would say for some of the larger corporations, a lot of them have community relations people
Okay.
on staff that are already doing some of those things that help their employees get connected. We can, if they don't have a tool for organizing their people, we absolutely can help them with those, with that capacity by utilizing the tool to do that. But really, when you think about medium sized businesses, maybe they have a couple hundred employees, uh, or maybe a small business that has 15 or 20 or, people that work for them. And maybe they've never done a volunteer team building activity. Maybe they've never served anywhere. We really want to make it accessible for them to be engaged as well, just because they don't have a full time staff person that's looking for those opportunities. We would be happy to go in and talk to them about what they're passionate about, the group enjoys to do, or what are that group of employees, what are their passions, how can we help connect them, and then through that tool, and they're able to, maybe they find something on the platform and they can go directly and sign up, and we're just providing the tool for them if they want deeper connections, maybe to other people that we don't work with or people in the community. We always are supporting the good work that's happening here, and so if they're not a client, we actually still call that organization and say, "Hey, we've got 10 people. How could they serve?" And so we want to be a conduit for anybody in the community that's looking for places to serve. We want to be able to help them get there. And so it looks different depending on what size of business they are, but we absolutely have pathways to help them to find those opportunities.
I got the sense that, like, wow, there's a lot of nonprofits in Midland and Odessa, but I don't have that much to compare to. So like from a city of this size, like, would you say, is there a large number of nonprofits? Like, and do they all need, or like, how many need your help basically? Like,
We've been told, I mean, there's various numbers floating out there, but definitely over 1,300 in this region.
okay.
I'm gonna say that safely. I stand corrected if anybody wants to correct that. But
Somebody in the
we
comments will let
somebody
us
in
know.
the comments, let me know if you know the exact amount. But
And if they can send us the link to where to find this
that
information,
yeah.
I would
Oh,
greatly
excellent. Okay.
appreciate
All right.
that in the comments.
Provide receipts.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Yes. Now, what we understand is most of those people that are nonprofits, not every nonprofit always needs, 300 volunteers.
Okay.
Some of them might need 10, 15, 20, but for the most part, a nonprofit will utilize volunteers at some point in their journey. And so what we like to say is, yeah, we'd love to help everybody because Leslie and I love efficiency. We love processes. We love helping people. I think that gives us a lot of joy in seeing an organization that maybe didn't have good processes or something that was a one-stop shop kind of thing, and maybe they had different processes in different places, but now they can actually have one location where there's a database on the backside. It provides time saving for that volunteer coordinator or that staff, that works for them. It doesn't eliminate their job, but it does provide a lot of tools to help them in efficiencies for that job. And so we always try to tell people it gives them the opportunity to actually spend more time with volunteers and cultivating a relationship rather than managing the management side of it. So, but when you think about the vast amount of nonprofits, I think it's probably various reasons, but we are a very generous region
Sure.
and philanthropic dollars, are just there's a lot of people giving a lot of money away and wanting to do good. And so I think that's one reason. But even if you take that 1,300 number and you drop it down and you say, well, some of those are churches, some of those are booster clubs, some of those are just various, the Rotary, different organizations the chamber, there's different organizations
Sure.
that are local. I would say that most of them are organizing someone, from this standpoint. So I do think there's our main client base has been people that are actually serving needs in the community, whether it's hunger, whether it's animals, whether it's veterans, the organizations. We have several organizations that serve youth in this community. So there's a vast amount of different areas, but I would say we work with those organizations that are more service oriented to meeting a need in the community,
Okay.
a physical, emotional,
I see. Right.
support in the community.
Okay. I was going to ask if there was like I don't want to say criteria, but I mean, in terms of like whether it be size or type of organization or, staffing or something like that. But you've kind of answered
I mean, yeah, the
that can most
a lot of
benefit.
our
Yeah.
clients are that. The great thing about the tool that we have through an organization that we work with where we license the platform. It's a company called Virtuous, and we work with them. I mean, we have the license through them, but it's great because the tool has been built very it's agnostic basically, and so it's a template. And so we work with businesses, we work with churches. So we work with churches that are trying to mobilize people, and it has great avenues for helping connect to their organizations and empower their people to know, hey, these are the clients that we work with. You're welcome to serve in the community anywhere, but these specifically are the people that we give money to and that we would, want to support. And so there's lots of different avenues. We have one group that has used it for political, um, you know, mobilization of volunteers. So there's a lot of different
Okay.
capacity,
So it's flexible.
Yeah.
totally flexible.
Okay. Without going into like obviously we're not going to talk all the steps of
Yeah.
utilizing the platform from the back end, but like I want to get a sense of, and you've kind of touched on it a little bit. Like if you know, maybe I'm the executive director, maybe I'm on staff at a nonprofit, like, can you give me a sense of like, from a day-to-day perspective, like you kind of said, like you can enter in new events, you can enter in a list of things. Can you touch on that a little bit more? Like from the day-to-day, like, am I going to use this every single day? Is this like potentially?
We we think it's important to use every day,
Okay.
especially if you're needing volunteers on a regular basis. I think I use it, I think of it as a project management tool. So, many of the ways that you can build out opportunities, and Leslie can chime in on this as well. When you build out an opportunity, you may not have all the details. And so today I might have the graphic for it. Tomorrow I might have the language because somebody else is working on the language of it. Okay, somebody else knows exactly how many volunteers we need, So it may not be something that happens all in one day, but it gives you the opportunity to build it out, to save it, to go back to it when you have that information, and then it also allows you to have recurring opportunities. So a space for that. So if you have something that's happening monthly or weekly or whatever,
Okay.
then it gives them that they don't have to build it out every time. They just have to change the date. So it's a great tool for an organization that's needing it for,
Yeah.
to manage their workflow of volunteers.
I think the tool itself, the platform, should be used every day. But the nice thing about it on the admin side is you can hammer out a lot of work in a day and get a lot of things built out. And the way that the back end side of it works, it's going to publish and push those out based on how you've built it. So you may have to do a lot of work on this front end side, but then the system's going to do the work for you for whatever you have it set up to do. If does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot of the day to day, the grunt work of the admin piece away from you or a person having to be the one that's constantly in this grind. I'm sure there's people out there that love the grind of the tallying things. That's foreign to me. That's not my world. I want to be with the people and do the people. And so it allows you to get those grinding pieces done and built, and then the system will do the rest. It'll do the work for the remainders of the days, shutting things off, turning things on. And so I think that's a piece of it that I've grown to really appreciate, but it is only as good as you use it. Early on, I learned to start telling people that this was a hammer, not a magic wand, because it's not going to magically build itself and it's not going to magically just fly around like Tinkerbell and, pick up all your volunteers and deliver them to the job that needs to be done.
Okay, so that brings up the aspect of like, obviously, as the platform, as every neighbor, you're going to spend time obviously promoting these nonprofits who you're working with and sort of going like, hey, we've got this platform if you're wanting to volunteer. But then you've got the nonprofits themselves that are, my guess is they're putting the platform on their website and they're having to also promote it, right? So it's, what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
there's two sides of that, right? Like, I guess my ultimate is how many of them are going like, oh, we're working on these platforms. So you guys are going to do
Yeah.
all this promotion for me. And we're just going to sit back and have
Right.
tons and tons of volunteers
So
magically
yeah.
appear at our doorstep.
So we cannot magically make people appear.
Okay.
We definitely believe, we believe in abundance, that we have a very generous community. That's been said multiple times through financial means. We personally believe that everybody wants to make a difference. I think we're wired that way. I think whether it's small, whether it's great, we want to influence people and we want to make a difference in our community. I think it makes us stronger. And so I think that there's an element of it that when we think about giving our time and our resources, we want those nonprofits to know there's more than enough people out there. We just need to do a great job of informing them and communicating well with them. And we do get asked that a lot. Like, how do you think this is going to work? I mean, how do you know it's going to work? I'm like, well, you know what? Are your current processes working? Because hopefully, through what we're doing and communicating and getting the word out and, and building relationships with the volunteer, we want to really encourage nonprofits that it's not just about filling that spot for Friday, it's about building a relationship with that volunteer. It's about making sure that they feel valued in what they've done and that they feel the difference they're making. Because I can guarantee you, when I've gone and served different places and in different capacities, and even in church, there is a element that, it's kind of like the more you give, the more you get, kind of. And I don't mean that monetarily. It's very much an internal mechanism that there's a joy, and even when the work is hard and challenging, there's a joy that you get from it. And so that joy, I think, is wired into us, that people want to know that they've helped somebody else. And so if we give people the tools to, to meet that need, whether they care about, you know, youth, whether they care about people with special needs, whatever that might be, we want to help connect them to the right opportunity and make that information available to them. And so when you talk about, there's no day that looks the same for Leslie and I. Some days we're working with nonprofits. We're helping them build efficiencies. We're helping them strategize. We're helping them get better at what they do, so that then they can spend more time with their clients and with their volunteers. But on the other aspect, you might find us any day at a volunteer fair, at a lunch and learn at a corporation. You might find us at a church. You might find us at a coffee shop with a group of people who have said, "Hey, I heard about what you're doing. I want to volunteer with a certain group. How can you help me get connected?" And so, literally, there's not a day that goes by that we're not networking on both sides. So we network with the nonprofit, and then we're also networking with various organizations in the community. We're talking to students at schools, who are in leadership classes, or students in philanthropy at Midland College, different capacities that we have in our community. We also want to grow to meet more needs in Odessa. And, as we continue to grow, we'd like to just continue the reach.
That makes sense. You're you're out here trying to activate the community. It has to make sense that you have to be
Yeah.
out in the community to
Yeah.
do it.
Hmm.
Okay, so just launched the podcast. Let's talk about that because you and I had talked for quite a while. If you're talking to me, you're talking about podcasts. It's just who I am
That's
here in
right.
town. So you just launched the podcast. I want you to talk, obviously, tell everybody about it. We'll link it in the description below. Go check it out. Go subscribe. But what's the podcast and who's it for? What kind of stories are you going to be
Yeah.
examining?
So kudos to you, Ryan. Thank you so much for encouraging us down that path, because really, a year ago or more, you asked me, you said, you need to be doing a podcast. And I was like, no, that's not my thing. I do not want to do a podcast. And you know that. But come full circle, I am so thankful that we said yes, because just in the ones that we've recorded already that are launching, um, it has been such a joy to sit across from people, talk about their organizations, talk about their personal stories. The name of our podcast is Good Work West Texas. And really, it's just really just we're championing the good work that's happening in our region. And we want that for people to come and listen. We want it to be anybody who wants to know the good work. I mean, in the last, I would say several years, it's hard to find good commentary on what's happening in our community. I think that's been a constant challenge the whole time I have lived here, that there's so much negativity. And I think that we're improving in that as a community, and growing in that, but we want to be a part of that, of just knowing what is the good work that's happening here, and how can we encourage people to not only sit by. I think I can't even think of the name of it, but it's about the critic. I'm completely blank on it. But so many people want to be a critic when things don't go well, or they want to sit and, tell you how you should have done it. But I think to be effective and to be the community we want to be, we have to get people engaged. And you can't sit by and be a critic. If something needs to change, then you have to be a part of the solution. And that's what we want for people to know. Our community can thrive, but back to our name of every neighbor. We believe every neighbor has value. We believe that they have a place to give back in the community, and we want to help them make that connection, because then we become a stronger place. We become a place where when people think about Midland, Odessa, when they think about West Texas, they don't think about the negativity, the trash, the whatever. I mean, that was a big one.
The roads.
The roads,
Yes.
the you name it, they've got a complaint. And I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about the generosity. Let's talk about not just the dollars, but let's talk about the people behind the dollars, and who don't have dollars. Let's talk about the people who are giving their time, which is huge, to organizations and to our community, and let's give them a pathway to get engaged. And so those are the stories that we're telling in the podcast. It's not just a place where you can only find out information about that organization. I mean, yes, it's a place for information, but we want it to be about the people behind it, what got them engaged in serving, what were the important things that somebody invested in them, whether they were a volunteer or they were a recipient of that organization. And so trying to just inspire people and promote the good that's happening in our community and just be a voice for good.
So it's not just like, hey, it's the executive director every single time with an organization. You're talking to people who volunteer, you're talking to people who these organizations have helped in the past, and super passionate folks. So sounds like it's going to be good stories.
We're really excited. Yeah, I mean, not to like go forward anyway, but we've cried, we've laughed, it's just been really inspiring. And I hope that people really know the good. And I hope that they share it with their friends and share it in our community because I do think it from an information perspective. I hope that whether they're a business leader, they're maybe they serve on a board. There's lots of different ways to serve, and so um, we want to open up those opportunities where people can see themselves in a place serving and really making a difference.
I'm ready for it.
Okay.
I'm also helping you guys with it so that, but I'm ready for it.
We're ready for it too.
So, okay, so one last thing, I'll let you guys go. I know you guys have super busy schedules. Um, so what's one thing that someone out there, a listener, someone who's into volunteering, somebody who works for a nonprofit, like what's one thing, one takeaway from today that you'd want to leave them with before I link off to all your things, let them know where to go next? Oh, I nailed this one.
Yeah, we're stumped. One thing. Um, I think I would probably say to the nonprofit side of it that if you can figure out how to value the volunteer, if you need one volunteer a week for a year, you need 52 volunteers. But if you can really show that volunteer that they matter, that them giving of their time mattered, you can help them feel and see the fruits of their labor, then there's a good chance you need that one volunteer because there's a good chance that volunteer is going to come back every single week. So instead of now needing to look for 52 volunteers, maybe they can't make every single week, but they're going to make a lot of those weeks. You're not looking for 52 volunteers anymore. So I think on the nonprofit side and having had to learn that myself on really valuing those volunteers so that I'm not looking for 70 every single Sunday to fill classrooms, but really valuing them so that those people are coming back every single week. I think that's one thing that I would leave on the volunteer side. On the nonprofit side, on the volunteer side, I would say just get plugged in, find a place. You don't have to have crazy skill sets to volunteer. I think a lot of people count themselves out. Maybe they don't have a ton of money or they don't have a ton of time, but 1 hour can make a difference in these organizations. Donating towels can make a huge difference in these organizations. So there's a lot of ways that we as an individual or as a family can get involved in the community. And like we've already touched on, there's a billion different nonprofits here. So it's some whatever you're passionate about, there is a nonprofit probably doing it. And so I would just encourage people to find that and to take the leap and to get plugged in to being the change, to being the difference that they want to see. So
I think for me, because Leslie's talked about some really strong points. I think for me, it's the client perspective. I think you've been with me many times as we've gone and interviewed, or we've seen, um, whether it's people in a food line, women coming to the Life Center that needed help in a crisis situation, making difficult decisions. And when I think about FCA and I think about the hundreds of students that they're able to reach, They could not do that without volunteers every single day. And so when you think about as the recipient of something that someone has given their time and their efforts to you, it's it's very humbling and I mean it changes lives. It really does. There's because someone took the time to go do something for you or to spend that hour tutoring. I mean, it runs the gamut, you know. Um, and so I think for people to understand there's always somebody on the other side that is in need. We will always have needs in our community. We will always have great ideas of people that are creating more nonprofits and more, ways to give back, and I think that that's fantastic, but I just think about we really do make a stronger community because for somebody that's addicted and they're able to get off the street and they're able to have peer support and they're able to live a thriving life, it all happened because of a group of people that were actually willing to take time and to do things for them. And so I think it comes full circle that none of it happens without the people that took that leadership step. It doesn't happen without the donor. It doesn't happen without the volunteer, and then obviously just the client of whoever it is. And so it's a full circle thing where we have to work together as a community to make it better. And we can't sit on the sidelines and expect someone else to do it. That's how I got involved in what Every Neighbor is because I just thought it was somebody else's problem to solve. And I felt like, you know what, we have to try this because we have to be a better community. And so that's what we want. And hopefully we'll just continue to grow and offer more opportunities for people to be engaged.
Well said.
Thank you.
Do you like being a podcast host or guest better?
Definitely the host.
Guest
And I
is
don't
is
know.
And the
exactly.
co-host, because I don't have to say really almost anything.
You've nailed the co-host. Okay,
That's
so
great.
just so everybody wants to get involved, everyneighbor.com, every neighbor Instagram, Facebook,
Facebook.
YouTube channel. The podcast is on the YouTube channel. Good Work West Texas. Find it, link it. It's in the links, it's in the description. Subscribe, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep.
Anything else I missed?
I don't think so.
All right.
It sounds good.
I really appreciate you guys coming in. Sorry Tara couldn't be on the show today.
We
She gives
missed
her
her.
love. She wants to adopt all the pets.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep her off of those ones, but we can volunteer.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
All
Thanks for
right.
coming in. We'll see you
Thank
on
you,
the next
Ryan.
one. Bye.